if you feel like life keeps pulling you in every direction, if you're tired of pretending you're okay when inside everything is slipping out of your hands, if you've ever looked in the mirror and thought, I know I'm meant for more than this, then this message is for you. Because there's a moment in everyone's life when they realize they're not actually living. They're just reacting, surviving, and hoping things magically get better. But today something shifts. Today you're going to hear the one truth most people never figure out. The truth that separates people who stay stuck from people who take control and rewrite their story. And once you understand it, once you feel it, you'll never look at your life the same way again. So take a breath, put the world on pause for a moment, and listen closely. This might be the turning point you've been waiting for. Awareness is step one because nothing in your life can change until you actually see what's going on beneath the surface. Most people believe they need more motivation, a better plan, or a new opportunity. But the truth is, you could have all three and still feel stuck if you're not aware of the habits, reactions, and automatic patterns that quietly run your life. Awareness is like turning on the lights in a room you've been stumbling through for years. You finally see the objects you keep tripping over, the clutter you've been avoiding, and the paths you never noticed. And once you see them, you can choose differently. Awareness requires honesty, the uncomfortable kind. It forces you to acknowledge the part you play in your own stress, your own conflicts, your own setbacks. It makes you face the truth that many of your reactions are old survival behaviors, not conscious choices. Maybe you snap when you feel misunderstood. Maybe you shut down to avoid conflict. Maybe you chase distractions because sitting with your thoughts feels overwhelming. These aren't random behaviors, they're patterns. And patterns don't break until they're recognized when you're unaware. You live in reaction mode, you wait for life to provoke you, and then you respond out of habit. You react to stress the same way, you react to criticism the same way, you react to uncertainty the same way. And every reaction reinforces the idea that you're not in control. But the moment you pause, just pause, you interrupt that autopilot. That pause is your power. It's the split-second window where awareness steps in and gives you a choice. Awareness also exposes the gap between what you say you want and what you actually do. You say you want peace, but you keep engaging in draining conversations. You say you want growth, but you keep choosing comfort. You say you want confidence, but you talk to yourself like an enemy. Without awareness, these contradictions stay hidden. With awareness, they become impossible to ignore. And when something becomes impossible to ignore, change becomes unavoidable. Awareness is not judgment. It's observation. It's being able to say, I'm not handling this well. Without shame, it's noticing I'm getting triggered without attacking someone else. It's admitting I need to do better without tearing yourself apart. When you remove judgment, awareness becomes a tool, not a weapon. It becomes something you can use to navigate life instead of something that makes you feel guilty for where you are. People who feel overwhelmed, reactive, or stuck need awareness more than anything because awareness gives you back your options. It gives you the ability to choose a calmer response, choose a healthier boundary, choose a more productive habit, choose a new direction. You can't change the circumstances life hands you, but awareness lets you change the way you engage with them. And when you change that, you change everything. Responsibility creates power because the moment you decide that your life is shaped by your choices, not your circumstances, not other people, not luck, you instantly shift from being a passenger to being the driver. Many people misunderstand responsibility. They hear the word and think it means taking blame, admitting fault, or carrying shame. But responsibility has nothing to do with guilt. It has everything to do with control. Responsibility simply means acknowledging that your response is yours. Your decisions are yours. Your habits are yours. And the direction of your life will always follow the choices you ultimately make. That truth is uncomfortable, but it's also unbelievably freeing. When you adopt responsibility, you stop waiting. You stop waiting for someone to apologize so you can heal. You stop waiting for perfect timing so you can start. You stop waiting for motivation so you can change. You stop waiting for life to arrange itself into something easier. Responsibility ends that waiting game because you finally see that progress doesn't start when the world becomes gentle. It starts when you become intentional. It's a quiet but powerful shift from I can't because of them to I can because of me. People who feel stuck often believe their situation has more control over them than they have over it. They tell themselves they can't change careers because of their past. They can't build confidence because of how they were treated. They can't fix their relationships because the other person won't change. These beliefs are heavy, but they're also familiar. And familiarity sometimes feels safer than responsibility because responsibility means looking directly at your life and admitting, I'm part of the reason this hasn't changed yet. That sentence is hard, but it's also the doorway to freedom. Responsibility doesn't require you to control everything. It only asks you to control what's yours, your reactions, your attitude, your habits, your effort, your boundaries, your decisions. You can't control how someone speaks to you, but you can control how many chances you give them. You can't control the economy, but you can control how you prepare. You can't control your past, but you can control the meaning you give it. You can't control the speed of life, but you can control your pace. Once you accept that, your excuses lose their power, and you reclaim yours. Responsibility also deepens confidence. Not the loud kind that needs to be seen, but the quiet kind that comes from knowing you can trust yourself. When you stop blaming, you start building. When you stop avoiding, you start advancing. You begin to make decisions based on your future instead of your fears. You start acting like someone who believes they matter. And every time you make a responsible choice, setting a boundary, forming a habit, speaking with intention, correcting your behavior, you reinforce the belief that you are capable of leading your life, not just surviving it. People who feel overwhelmed, lost, or powerless needs responsibility because responsibility hands them their power back. It tells them they're not stuck. It tells them they're not helpless. It tells them that their next step is within their reach, not someone else's. Responsibility doesn't just move you forward, it transforms who you become along the way. Small actions move big outcomes because your life is not shaped by the dramatic moments you remember. It's shaped by the quiet, consistent choices you make when nobody is watching. Most people wait for major breakthroughs to change their lives. They wait for a new year, a new job, a sudden spark of motivation, a big emotional shift. But real transformation doesn't come from big events. It comes from the daily habits that feel too small to matter in the moment, but too powerful to ignore over time. The truth is, big goals collapse without small actions holding them up. Wanting confidence doesn't give you confidence. Showing up for yourself in small ways builds it. Wanting discipline doesn't create discipline. Keeping small promises to yourself creates it. Wanting a better life doesn't change anything. Taking simple steps every day slowly rewrites the direction of your entire future. That's why small actions matter. They're the only part of your life you can consistently control. Small actions also break the cycle of overwhelm. When life feels heavy or out of control, the idea of making a huge change feels impossible. But a small step, drinking more water, taking a 5-minute walk, organizing one drawer, speaking one sentence calmly instead of reacting, writing down a single thought you want to work on, those are doable. And when something is doable, you actually do it. That single action may look insignificant on the outside, but it shifts your inner momentum. And momentum is what carries you forward when motivation disappears. For people who feel stuck, small actions are the lifeline. They create progress where there was previously paralysis. They help you rebuild your belief in yourself. Each little action says, I'm not giving up on me. And when you repeat enough small actions, you build an identity around them. You start seeing yourself as someone who takes care of their life, handles their emotions, and moves with intention. You begin to trust yourself, not because you made a huge dramatic change, but because you proved you can consistently take simple steps. Small actions also reveal something important. Change isn't about doing more, it's about doing the right things repeatedly. A single choice to pause before reacting can save a relationship. A single choice to speak with patience can change an entire conversation. A single choice to plan your next morning can shift the energy of your whole day. These aren't big leaps. They're silent moments where you choose a different path, a path your future self will thank you for. And yes, small actions feel slow. They lack the excitement of dramatic transformation. But slow change sticks, fast change fades. Anyone can make a big change for one day. Few can make a small change every day. But the people who do, they build lives that look intentional, peaceful, productive, and powerful. The people who feel lost, frustrated, or unable to break old patterns needs this truth more than anything. Because they don't need to flip their world upside down to regain control. They don't need a perfect plan. They don't need a heroic moment. They just need one small action done consistently, repeated until the direction of their life quietly shifts. And if they commit to those small actions long enough, the big outcomes they thought were impossible become the new normal. They live in everyday. Emotional discipline beats motivation because motivation is a feeling and feelings shift like the weather. Some days you wake up ready to move mountains, and other days you can barely convince yourself to move out of bed. If your life depends on motivation, you will always live in cycles. One week you're unstoppable. The next week you're undoing all the progress you made. Emotional discipline is different. It doesn't rely on how you feel. It relies on who you choose to be, especially when your feelings try to pull you in a different direction. It's the ability to act from your values instead of reacting from your emotions, and that's where real control is found. Most people think they're stuck because they don't have enough motivation, but the truth is they're stuck because they haven't built emotional discipline. Emotional discipline is what holds you steady when life tests you, when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when you're afraid, when you want to quit. It's the invisible strength that doesn't get credit, but it's the reason strong people stay standing. Motivation might start the race, but emotional discipline is what finishes it. For people who feel overwhelmed or reactive, emotional discipline is life-changing. It teaches you how to create space between what you feel and what you do. That space is everything. It's what stops you from saying words you'll regret. It's what keeps you from making decisions based on fear. It's what allows you to stay calm even when your mind is loud and the situation is chaotic. Without that space, your emotions control you. With it, you control your emotions not by suppressing them, but by guiding them. Emotional discipline also teaches you consistency. You don't need to feel motivated to take a small step. You just need to be committed. You don't need to feel confident to practice a skill. You just need to show up. You don't need to feel ready to make a healthy choice. You just need to make it anyway. Discipline doesn't wait for permission from your feelings. It builds progress regardless of how you feel in the moment. And the more you practice it, the louder your discipline becomes and the quieter your excuses get. One powerful truth about emotional discipline is that it doesn't eliminate your emotions. It elevates them. It teaches you how to sit with discomfort without panicking, how to acknowledge anger without becoming destructive, how to feel disappointment without giving up, how to move forward even when your emotions try to freeze you. This is emotional maturity at its highest level, and it's what creates real stability. When emotions rise, most people react. When emotions rise in someone with discipline, they reflect, they breathe, they choose. People who feel reactive, easily triggered, inconsistent, or emotionally drained needs emotional discipline because their life will not change if their emotional patterns stay the same. Motivation can make you excited. Emotional discipline makes you unstoppable. Motivation fades when life gets hard. Emotional discipline grows because life gets hard. Motivation depends on the day. Emotional discipline depends on your decisions. And when you choose discipline over emotion long enough, you stop being controlled by your impulses and start being guided by your purpose. Clarity prevents chaos because when you don't know what you want, everything feels urgent, everything feels confusing, and everything feels heavier than it needs to be. Most people walk through life reacting to whatever shows us up in front of them. They wake up and respond to problems, respond to people, respond to pressure, respond to emotions, and by the end of the day, they feel drained without knowing why. That exhaustion doesn't come from doing too much. It comes from doing too much without direction. Clarity is what gives your mind a destination, and when you have a destination, the noise around you suddenly loses its power. Clarity is powerful because it filters your decisions. When you know what you truly want, peace, confidence, stability, growth, you stop choosing the things that pull you away from it. You stop arguing about things that don't matter. You stop trying to please people who wouldn't care either way. You stop chasing distractions that take you nowhere. Without clarity, everything looks important. With clarity, you instantly see what deserves your energy and what doesn't. And when you stop wasting energy, your life becomes lighter almost overnight. People who feel overwhelmed often believe their problem is time, but the real problem is direction. They aren't struggling because they're incapable. They're struggling because they're unfocused. Clarity solves that. It simplifies your life by narrowing your attention to what actually matters. Instead of fighting 10 battles at once, you choose the one battle that moves your life forward. Instead of juggling priorities, you set one priority and let it guide your choices. Instead of trying to fix everything, you fix the thing that changes everything. Clarity also protects your emotional health. When you're unclear, you take things personally because you don't have an internal anchor. You get stuck in comparison because you don't know what path you're supposed to be on. You feel behind because you don't know where ahead even is. But when you gain clarity, you stop measuring your life against other people. You start measuring it against your purpose, your values, your goals. Suddenly you're not lost, you're intentional, you're not confused, you're focused. You're not drifting, you're driving. Another reason clarity matters is because it strengthens your boundaries. When you know what kind of life you're building, it becomes easy to say no to things that don't belong in it. You stop explaining yourself. You stop apologizing for protecting your peace. You stop giving people access to parts of your life they haven't earned. Clarity gives you a backbone, not a loud one, but a stable one, a calm one, the kind that helps you stand firm without being harsh. People who feel lost, pulled in different directions, or controlled by chaos needs clarity because clarity gives them their identity back. It gives them direction. It gives them emotional stability. It gives them purpose, and purpose gives them control. Life becomes simpler when you know what you're aiming for. Decisions become easier. Stress becomes lighter, and the world becomes quieter. You stop trying to live every life and finally start living your own. At the end of the day, taking control of your life isn't about being perfect, fearless, or endlessly motivated. It's about choosing awareness so you can finally see what's holding you back, choosing responsibility so you can step into your own power, choosing small actions so your progress becomes steady, choosing emotional discipline so your feelings don't control your future, and choosing clarity so your path becomes intentional instead of chaotic. These 5 choices aren't complicated, but they are courageous, and they're available to you every single day. You don't need a new life to start. You just need a new decision right here, right now. Control isn't something you wait for. It's something you build choice by choice, moment by moment, until one day you look around and realize you created the life you once thought was impossible. Good luck on your journey. You're more capable than you think, stronger than you realize, and closer than you believe. Thank you for listening, and thank you for deciding to take control of your life.